Hi, welcome back to Soul Code. So in this video, we'll be looking at timer control in Power Apps. But the use case is a kind of a silly thing to do because you're not going to be using a traffic light on your mobile app, but it kind of explains how timer control works in Power Apps. I think it's a fascinating way to explain how timer works on Power Apps, and this can generally give you a view or an idea of how or what you can use timer for. You know, many a times these bits and pieces of ideas that we share on this channel might not are not necessarily tailored towards a particular project, but when you have a knowledge of them, you have diverse ways that you can use them. It prepares you for bigger projects, or sometimes it just gives you an idea of something that you might probably have been trying to achieve, but your mind was not just going into certain scenarios. So let's get into it. All right, we open our blank canvas app. Let's call it traffic control. Okay, it's getting ready. Right, let's create an image. So what we're doing essentially is to just manipulate images, from red to orange and to green. It's just hiding one and displaying the other. So you could have different methods of doing this. You could use a circle control and change the fill colors based on the timing and what have you. But I have just chosen this method to use graphics, something that looks, more graphic. So let's name this image red. Let's copy and paste that. Just name that red, yellow. Okay. So let's copy that, let's paste again. Edge green. Let's upload that, let's link that. Right, and one thing you make sure is all the images are aligned on the same coordinate so that you have a smooth run. So let's pick a timer control. Let's put that in place. Copy, paste, and paste again. We're going to be using 3 timer controls. In real life applications, you don't want to make your timer control visible. It depends on whatever you want to achieve. You could make them visible. Most basically, you just want to hide them because we don't really need them to show really in typical applications. So paste, let that be the stop timer. So the first timer is the one that is going to start the process. and when it starts, the red light shows. Then when it runs out, it it shows ready. Then it passes it to the second control, then to the last control. Then the cycle continues just as you have it on the streets, on the road, whichever. So let's call this ready. And the last one move. Okay. Now let's set a control, like a control panel, where you determine, in real life scenarios, when you have street lights, that they have controls where you especially when you have, of course, where you have junctions and you have a couple of lights, you know, exchanging signals and controlling different traffic. I mean, different directions of traffic. That there's usually control somewhere where the time for each color or the time for each activity is set. The duration is set. For some areas, the peak period, at peak period of the day, you have you have priorities to lines that are traffic prone, and you have and lesser priorities assigned to roads or routes where you have lesser traffic, where you expect lesser traffic. So these things are pre-programmed and as well being reprogrammed, being set up. So that's the kind of thing we want to use in this use case. Want to have I want to be able to vary the duration for each of the statuses of the traffic light. So we have duration for this, the duration for uh, yellow, ready, and this is going to be setting the duration for the green or the move. Yeah, in typical environment, you want to keep these values in your database or data source or anywhere that the the program picks it from. So let's just draw that in place. Move. Okay, this is the red timer. And this is the yellow or orange timer, or the ready. Right. So that's for move. And yep. All right, so we've got that in place. So the default duration is 60,000 milliseconds, which is approximately equals to 6 seconds. So we're going to be setting the duration to the values of our text boxes. So for ready, that's yellow. So just copy the name of the control, then set it as the duration for the timer control. Yep. You could as well fix them if you choose, if you would. You could as well fix them without making use of uh, variable controls. Right, let's save. Saving saves live. Okay, now let's move deep into the programming. Let me not let me not scare you. It's not programming really. It's quite just some just about setting up setting variables, reinitializing variables, and that's just the trick. So when this timer starts working, what does it do? So start ready. Start ready timer is false. So the ready timer is, so we're going to start from stop, from the stop timer. I mean from the red light. Let me put it that way. So the ready timer will be on pause, will be invisible, or and the timer will not, the image will not be visible, and the timer will not be activated. So at this time, only the the variable for stop is true. So this is the visibility of each of, this is defining the visibility of each of the images or each of the statuses. Yeah, ready timer is not activated, and the traffic stopped visible is true. So these variables are for the images. So traffic stop is visible because we're going to be starting from stop. Then ready visible is false. Traffic move visible is false. So it's only red that is visible at this time. So it's just playing around which image to show per time and things like that. You might take it further to use like circle control and then play around with the fill color based on the timing. Now when this ends, the stop timer elapses, what do you want to happen? Now that's what you code on the on timer end. So when the timer ends, that's this current timer we're on. Remember, we're still on the red timer, on the stop timer. So now when the stop elapses on timer end means when this timer ends, when this time elapses, what action do we want to take? So here we're moving to the next timer. So we're activating the ready timer. So we're setting it to true. Then we are hiding the stop light, the image. Remember, we have three images overlapped on one another. So now the traffic stop visible is going to be false. That means red light is going to be false. Never mind the use of my variables. They might not all go well with you. I always advise you use something more descriptive and more interesting to you. So in the stop, after the stop timer ends, you're gonna hide the red image. Then you're gonna set the ready image as visible. So that was set. Now when this second timer ends, we want the visible, we want the ready light to be off or hide in our own case. Then you recall that the stop timer is already hidden. So the ready light is just exchanging signal and passing the signal to the green light here. So that's why we're hiding the traffic ready. We are offing the light, we're switching off the light. Then the move visible is true. Then we start the move timer as well. That is the tall timer. So we activate that timer. So they're just passing signals within themselves. Then when this timer starts, what should happen? Yeah, so you stop the previous timer. It's always advisable, I think that's the way it works, to use to reset it to false. It's always good to reset it to false. Yeah, start ready timer. So when that ends, then activate the start, or activate the control rather. So okay, just looking for, so on move, what happens on move? So let's use that variable to control the starting. You could auto start some of your timers. There's an auto start, there's automatic start, and I think just few controls that are quite powerful that you're using there. Right, so when this is activated, what should happen? Now, the move timer, stop timer is still false. Set on this also is kind of reset the control for the next cycle, because if you do not set it to false, it sees it as active and something might malfunction. Just have a play around really and study it, but this is quite a good example. Now when that timer ends, we want to, that's the last phase, that's the last round of the cycle, so we want to pass the signal back to the stop. So when the move timer is exhausted, when the time elapses, then you start the stop timer. You're reinitializing the stop timer. Yeah. So that's it there as the move timer. I think we're good. Okay, so let's copy that stop timer and set it as the start. No, okay, I think it's gonna be here. Right, so each of them are just passing controls to themselves, basically. So set visible. So that is red image. So we're setting the visibility to what it should be, to the variable. Then we go for the image red and yellow. They are overlapped, so the way to get to them is to use your solution pane from the screen window. Now this is for the green. The visibility is traffic move visible. So let's save and run it. Start. So that's counting to 4 to 6 seconds. Right now, great. So the cycle continues again. So move is going to stay for 6 seconds. Now it's back to red. It's going to stay for another 6 seconds based on our definition on the boxes. Then it takes the control out of ready in just 2 seconds. You could vary that in the text box, and and the cycle continues forever. So this is how the timer works. You could apply it in different scenarios, different use cases. I've only chosen this as one of the ways to demonstrate it. It's a kind of a fake thing to do because traffic lights don't work on phones, don't work on systems. Yeah, but just to share the idea. So thank you very much for watching to this point. See you in another video.